Guess who's back? Back again. Just kidding. I'm not gonna rap for y'all. I will answer some questions though. The first one comes from JL. She asks, I'm competing in 10 weeks and my legs are being stubborn. What's the best way to harden them up and to see definition? Well, I would look at a couple of different things first. Make sure you're not overtraining. Make sure you're not doing too much cardio. And by cardio, the low intensity, steady state, an hour, 2 hours a day, something like that, where your cortisol levels will be up and it will cause you to hold either in your stomach and in your legs and glutes in that area. So just make sure you're not doing too much. The next thing would be to try sprints outside or stadiums or plyometrics, really be explosive and that type of training, and just mixing it up that way should really help to harden your legs up. And I also would look at your diet and make sure you're not eating a lot of soy, and make sure you're getting a lot of good quality protein, lean meats, or if you're a vegetarian, lean proteins from plant sources other than soy. The next question comes from David. He asks, I'm curious how all of the traveling, weird sleep, eating and training schedules, and general body clock weirdness can affect you during competition season. Well, David, I just got back from Australia about a week ago, and I'm still trying to adjust. Basically, with the eating and traveling, it's very tough to find good, healthy, clean meals and to eat every few hours. So basically when I get home, I just make sure to get on Eastern time schedule and wake up early in the mornings and make sure I get my work done and go to the gym at the same time and get back to a schedule as soon as possible in hopes that my body will adjust, and also making sure I get enough rest. So it definitely affects all of us as competitors, but it's something that we all deal with. The next question comes from Stephanie. She asks, stretching, before, after, during, how often? I feel like I neglect this area. Well, Stephanie, I tend to neglect stretching too. However, I changed up my stretching in the last couple of years. In college, we used to do our warm-ups, and then we would do static stretching, and then we would do our workouts. But I've been reading lately that if you do your warm-up, do dynamic stretching and some range of motion type stuff and warming up that way, doing your workout and then doing static stretching afterwards will really help you maintain flexibility and stay limber. Just remember, when you do static stretching, you're creating little micro tears in the muscle. So by stretching before you lift, you can increase your chance of pulling a muscle, because working out and lifting creates micro tears also. So you want to do dynamic stretching before and static stretching after. I have to take that advice too. The next question comes from Brittany. She asks, how do you stay on track during your small amount of off-season? Do you incorporate cheats or treats? If so, how often? How does your body fat and weight change during season versus off-season? Well, I stay on track during off-season just by knowing what's coming up next, and also setting small goals as far as shoots in the off-season. Maybe I'll go to the beach, or have a vacation where I have to stay in shape. I take progress pictures even in the off-season, and also work out with friends that hold me accountable and just make sure that I never get too far from stage weight. It keeps it a lot easier when you start your prep. And then as far as cheat meals, now that I'm sort of in an off season, I'll do a healthy treat once a week, and that's something that I'm craving, but something that's not necessarily going to throw me completely off of my diet. So maybe it's a little bit more sushi, or a trip to Yogurtology, or frozen yogurt, maybe a little bit of chocolate, that type of thing. So I try not to go crazy at a buffet in the off season for a treat meal. And then as far as body fat percentage goes, I don't measure body fat in season or off season. I usually just do pictures, and will also take measurement, circumference of chest, waist, hips, thighs, that type of thing. But as far as weight goes, I'm about 8 pounds from stage weight in the off season. So it's almost impossible for any of us to maintain stage weight, and it's not healthy to maintain stage weight year round. We do need a little bit, of body fat, so it's normal. The next question comes from Jana. She asks, I'm currently training for my first competition. I have the food part on point and the training on point. I have and still continue to struggle with balancing relationship, friends, and important engagements during my prep. It causes me to stress out and come off to people around me as uptight and boring, which I'm not. I'm fun, energetic, and happy. How can I overcome balancing two very important aspects of my life, my training and my relationships? Well, Jana, that is really a tough one. I would look at your prep, look at your training, and maybe see how serious you're taking it and how far out you are. If you're a couple of months away from a show and you're giving friends a hard time about what they eat, or you're being difficult in general. A lot of people don't necessarily appreciate that if they don't compete. The next thing to do would be to look at your relationships and see if your friends that you're hanging out with are truly friends. When I first started to compete, I had people in my life that would tell me that I couldn't accomplish what I wanted to accomplish, and that one drink wouldn't hurt, or one bite of their pizza wouldn't hurt, and that was tough. So two things: look at your training, make sure you're being reasonable, and that you are in fact being fun. And 2 weeks out, a week out is something completely different. But if you're prepping and you're months out, then you should be able to relax and have fun. And then look at your friendships and make sure those people are actually have your best interest in mind and are truly friends. So you want to surround yourself not necessarily with other competitors, but with people who respect your wishes, your goals, and your ambitions. It is tough to find balance, but you can do it. It's just a matter of making sure you know what your goals are and surrounding yourself with positive people. And the last question comes from Shay. He asks, is Erin Stern high maintenance? Well, other than my daily baths and Evian water, I would not consider myself high maintenance. Just kidding, I'm not high maintenance. That's a ridiculous question. Okay, y'all, train hard. Until next week. Thanks.